It was the most fabulous experience of my life. For 11 days, I lived with the Beatles. I don't claim to know them intimately, but for the next hour, I will share part of my experience with you. This is the story in sound of the Beatle Trip 66. This is Ken Douglas. As you remember, before the Beatles arrived in America this summer, there was quite a controversy over a statement about religion made by John Lennon. At a press conference in Chicago on August the 12th, John Lennon told his side of the story.
And we've been hearing a great deal of interpretations of your comment regarding Beatles vis-a-vis Jesus. Could you tell us what you really meant by that statement?
I'll try and tell you, I was sort of deploring the attitude. The thing, I wasn't saying whatever they were saying, I was saying anyway. That's the main thing about it. And I was just talking to a reporter, but she also happens to be a friend of mine and the rest of us at home. It was a sort of in-depth series she was doing. And so I wasn't really thinking in terms of PR or translating what I was saying. It was going on for a couple of hours, and I just said it as just to cover the subject, and that's and it really meant what, I didn't mean it the way they said it. That's the main thing. It's just so complicated. It's gone out of hand, But I just meant it as that the Beatles. I wasn't saying the Beatles are better than Jesus or God or Christianity. I was using the name Beatles because I can use them easier. And I was using, because I can talk about Beatles as a separate thing and use them as an example, especially to a close friend. But I could have said TV or cinema or anything else that's popular, or motor cars are bigger than Jesus. But I just said Beatles because, that's the easiest one for me. I just never thought of repercussions. I never really thought of it.
They go too far out too suddenly, and no one stays with them. Everyone else is left behind because they're miles out ahead, sort of digging all this electronic stuff. But in fact, what we've tried to do is do the last album, Rubber Soul, a bit more towards that, then this one a bit more, and the next one should be a bit more. And if people stay with us, it's great. Lovely.
Who decided the two tracks to go as a single
from the LP?
Yeah.
I think we all did. I think it was a case of we knew that when the album came out, there'd be quite a few people going to cover it, so we thought we might as well have the hit,
I think Rigby will be another Yesterday.
I don't know, I don't think actually, the only thing that's similar to Yesterday is the fact that there's violins and stringed instruments on it. Apart from that, I think it's nothing to do with it. Completely different kind of tune. I think it's better in a way, but I sang Yesterday better. I sang Eleanor Rigby terrible. Sorry, but no, you listen to it, and it's... I listen. We will. Okay.
Actually, your music now is improving every time, and you're making the lyrics more interesting also, aren't you?
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, if we stayed where we were in, say, 1960 when we were doing Love Me Do and Please Please Me and From Me to You, which was one kind of thing, it was a kind of thing people liked. The thing is, if we did that now, I think our fans, the kind of fans that we got now, wouldn't like that too much, because it'd be going back and it'd be retracing your steps, And also, from our point of view, we're never going to do that. Because, I mean, if we ever have to do that, if anyone suddenly says, you're going too way out, you've got to get back to then, well, we'll give up,
That was part of my first day's conversation with Paul McCartney. Next, I moved over to Ringo. Most people think that Ringo is a sad-looking fellow who never smiles. But actually, Ringo has quite a sense of humor. He seems to be one big-hearted, happy fellow. As I moved over to Ringo, I had in my hand a list of questions which my listeners in Kentucky Hannah had sent for me to ask the Beatles. Ringo saw my sheet of paper, and jokingly said,
There's another cheat, folks. Reads it out of paper. Got no brain.
Not quite, Ringo. Well, actually, this is a lot of questions here from Beatle fans, but of course I'm only going to ask you a couple
Well,
right
there's
now.
the first question you needn't ask me. How many songs have you and John written? That's not really for me, is it?
No, Ringo, no, I tell you. I'd like to ask you, though, when's your next Beatle movie coming up?
Well, with any luck, we may start making it in January.